Hello everybody, welcome back again to another live coding session. I had some audio problems with the last stream, so let's see if this goes any better. Let's see. So, last week Taylor surprised us with a new Laravel package, which is called Laravel Breeze. It's a blade and tailwind authentication scaffolding package. So we already had Jetstream and Fortify in the Laravel 8 release, but now we also have Laravel Breeze, which is kind of a successor to Laravel UI. Laravel UI was like a bootstrap scaffolding package, which also had some presets coming from the community. So there was a Tailwind version of Laravel UI, but now we have this Laravel Breeze thing, and I thought it would be cool to check it out, see what it does, see how it works. So let's set up a new Laravel project. Let's open the terminal and let's use the Laravel installer to create a new Laravel project. So let's call this one Laravel Breeze. There it goes. It's really fast with the new Composer 2, so that's fine. Let's see, what did it install? Scroll to the top. Laravel 8.4.1. Right. Application ready, build something amazing. Let's do that. So let's go into this directory, Laravel Breeze. And to start, let's init a Git repository so we can track the changes. Let's add everything. Commit with a message, first commit. So that's it. Let's open this project in Visual Code, because that's my main editor. So here we have it, a default Laravel 8 application with a user model, with a web routes file. So yeah, what you expect from a default Laravel 8 application. And let's install this Breeze package. So Composer require Laravel Breeze. And of course, this is really quick as well. So no additional dependencies, just Laravel Breeze. And let's find out which artisan commands it comes with. So as it seems, we only have this breeze install command, which installs the controllers and the resources, and that's just what we want. So let's grab that one. And I have a little shortcut for artisan, which is called art, which is just PHP artisan breeze install. Hit enter, and there it is, breeze scaffolding installed. And we need to run npm install and run dev to build your assets. So yeah, let's take a quick look in the application itself. So as you might expect, it installed a bunch of controllers. You remember these from the previous package. New password controller, password reset link controller, verify email controller. It added a form request, a login request, with some rate limiting. So that's that. It added something to the route service provider. it added this path. So this path is used to redirect users after they successfully logged in. They get redirected to the dashboard route. It added some view components, which are the layouts. So let's dig into the views folder. We have apparently an app layout and a guest layout. So guest is used, for example, for the login form. So here we have our login form with the email address and the password, the remember me checkbox, the login button. So this is just a plain HTML styled with Tailwind CSS. It uses Laravel Blade components, which got introduced in Laravel 7. So check them out if you already and if you're already using them, you probably discovered this this X what do you call it, syntax. So yeah, we have a bunch of view files, we have some layouts, few components. We have a new auth routes file. So this is where all the routes are listed, and this file gets included in the web file. So this web file has a new dashboard route, and it includes all the routes from the auth file. And I think this is the best way to do it, because if you might remember in the previous package, in the Laravel UI package, there was a method, I think, on the auth facade, something like this, auth and then routes, which was actually a method on the route service provider, I think somewhere under the hood, I'm not sure. But you could configure it by passing in an array. So you could do something like register false, which, yeah, it worked fine, but this is much better, right? Much more clear what's happening. So I think that's a big improvement. And then we have a bunch of tests, feature tests, registration test, authentication test. So the Laravel UI package didn't have any feature tests, at least not included. There was a community package, I think, for scaffolding the tests, but this is great. So we have first-party tests as well. So in the composer file, it only added the Laravel Breeze dependency, of course. And then we have our package.json file for the front-end assets. So here we already have Tailwind UI, which is nice. Of course, there's Tailwind, Laravel Mix, which I think is included by default in the Laravel 8 app. And we have Alpine. So there is a bit of JavaScript magic going on. If you don't know, Alpine is created by the same guy as Laravel Livewire. It's like a mix between jQuery and Vue, but it's very minimal. So it has a Vue-like syntax, but you don't need the full Vue library, and it has some great helper method and syntax. So yeah, let's not let's not go in too deep into Alpine, but it's included. We have a default Tailwind configuration file with the purging setup. We have a font family added. And of course, here is the Laravel or the Tailwind UI requirement as well. And here's the Webpack mix file. So to set up the JavaScript and the post CSS with the Tailwind configuration. So let's dig into the JavaScript and CSS. First, the CSS, it's just plain Tailwind setup. No magic going on. And in the app.js file, we have the default bootstrap file. Yep. And it only requires Alpine. So that's that. Let's see. We need a database, right? We want to store some users. So let's go to the environment file. And I already set up a database. I called it Breeze. It's completely empty. So let's update the environment configuration file. The database is Breeze and my username is Homestead and the password is secret. And while we're at it, let's also update the mail configuration file because I use Mailhawk, which is this little tool. It traps mail locally, so you're might familiar with Mailtrap, which is an online service. It's a SMTP testing service. Mailhawk is something similar, but then locally on your machine. So to use Mailhawk, we need to update the host to localhost. The port is 1025, and we need to give it a from email address. This is a requirement. So let's go with I think the default is hello@example.com. Yep. So let's see if this works. I'm not completely sure. So tinker, and then let's grab the mail config file from hello@example. Yeah, this works. Yeah, this is fine. This should work. So let's install the front-end assets. So I don't use npm, but I use yarn, which is kind of the same thing. Yarn install. I don't think it matters anymore if you use yarn or npm. Yarn was a bit quicker in the past, but I think npm has catched up. Now they are both slow. So that's done. And then run yarn watch. You could run yarn dev, but I'm more fan of yarn watch. So it updates the assets when your code changes. It's installing some additional dependencies for the view templates and Tailwind. So in the meantime, let's migrate our database. I will open a new terminal screen. Artisan migrate. It migrated 3 tables: users, password, and failed jobs. Let's see. Let's refresh it. Yeah, there it is. And it also, of course, migrated the migrations table. So I can't make this panel on the left any bigger, but you have to trust me, those 4 tables are created. So here it is still installing the dependencies. So before I forget, I want new users to verify their email address. And Laravel has support for that built in. So let's move to the documentation and let's see. To get started, verify that your user model implements the must verify email contract. And then there's a little code example. So we need this part right here. Implements must verify email. Copy. As of Laravel 8, there's now a models folder, which I love. So we've implemented that interface. Let's save it. We can close this environment file, webpack. We can close this as well. So let's open the terminal again. So it failed, but it somehow always does that first time you run it, at least with Yarn. So I'll just run it again, Yarn watch. Always feels like magic, this Yarn npm webpack stuff. I just always hope it just keeps on working. So let's go to Firefox. So yeah, the assets are compiled. So let's open our new Laravel application. Here it is. Let's make that a bit bigger for you. So we have the default welcome page with links to the documentation and Laracast and you name it. And in the top right, you will find a login and a register button. So let's create a new account. This already looks really great. Password. All right, here we go. Register. Do you want to save? Yeah, sure, save it. So here we are, logged in and well. Let's check out the database. Users. Yeah, that's me. So here's my name, email, password. My email is not verified yet. So why is that? It's because we need a middleware for that. So back into the Laravel documentation, there is a section called protecting routes. So we need this ensure email is verified middleware. So we can use this verified string. If an unverified user attempts to access a route, they will automatically be redirected to the verification notice route. Right. So yeah, let's add it to the dashboard route. In code, go to the web routes file. So we already have this auth middleware. Let's add verified as well. Save it and then hit refresh. Thanks for signing up. So it already sent a verification mail, I guess. Let's see. Let's open Mailhawk. And there it is from Laravel, probably from hello@example.com. We have a new email. verify email address. Hello, please click the button below to verify your email address. So let's do that. And we are in the dashboard again without a warning. So let's refresh the database. And now we have a timestamp here in the email verified column. So to prove to you that this really works, let's remove that timestamp. Let's refresh the page, and we are back in this recent pop-up. So let's hit it again. A new verification link has been sent. Let's see in Mailhawk. Go to the inbox. And yeah, they're not lying. We've got a new email. So yeah, this works fine. It verifies registered users. We have that verified middleware working. So one thing I want to show you is how to verify email addresses that get updated by a user. So for now, I want to add a little settings tab here in the navigation where a user can update its email address. So let's open the dashboard. We need to add it to the app layout. We can close the CSS and JavaScript folders. Here's the app layout, and as it seems, we have a layout navigation with the application logo, the drop down, and here's that dashboard link. So what I want to do is add another button or add another navigation link to a settings route. Settings. Yeah. So back in the web routes file, let's add a settings route. Settings. So yeah, of course we need a settings view as well. So I'm just gonna duplicate this dashboard layout. Duplicate and name it settings. Update the title. Settings. And then instead of you are logged in, let's give it another message. Maybe something like this is where you can update your user settings, right? So now we've added a route. We have a view for the route, and we have a navigation link at the top. So let's refresh the page, and here it is, settings. So for now, I only want to be able to update the email address. So in the settings view, let's add a form here, and I'm gonna be lazy. I'm gonna copy it over from the registration view. So let's grab the complete form, paste it into the settings file, fix the indentation. So we don't need a name, right? We just want the email address. We don't need a password. We don't need to confirm it. And instead of register, I want this button to be labeled update. And if you submit this form, the action should not be register, but settings. So let's do that in the web file. Let's add a route, a post route. Settings, function, we want the request. And with that request, we are going to update the user. But first we're going to validate it. So request validate and then give it the rules. So the only thing we want to validate is the email. It's required. It should be an email and we want it to be unique. So rule unique. And the first argument is the table, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's the table. And the second one is the email, right? So this is the email input element. I want the value to be the current email. So let's give this settings view a user object. So in the routes file, view, we give data with an array. User is the current user from the request, right? So now we can, let's make a bit of room. The value is the current email of the authenticated user, right? So let's refresh that settings page. And in here we have it, a form with an email field where the current value is my current email address and an update button. So if I hit update, it should give a validation error because this email address is not unique anymore because I already used it. So let's see if it really works. Hit update. And yeah, we have a validation error. The email has already been taken, which is correct. Say I post another email address. Then we want to update the current user. So user equals request user. And then we're gonna update that user with the email address from the request. So request input email. And when that's done, we're just gonna redirect back. So that's it for now. So let's see if it works. If I change this email address to, let's say, info, and I hit update, no validation error, and apparently the email address has been updated. So let's take a quick look in the database. Yeah, it has been updated. So I'm gonna change it back to my previous email address, update, and this works fine. But this is where I see a problem. New email addresses, when a user is trying to register, needs to be validated. But if you update your email address, you don't have to verify it. So if you make a mistake, you make a typing error, or maybe you fill in an email address that don't belong to you, it doesn't get verified. So I wrote a little package to support that. You can find it on GitHub. I will post the link in the comment section later on. Anyway, this package is called Laravel Verify New Email, which brings support for verifying email addresses that gets updated by users. So let's install this package via Composer. Let's grab this line. Yeah, in here. Let's require it. And then we need to publish the database migration because we need an additional table, a configuration file, and an email view So let's do that. Here is the migration, configuration, and view. And let's migrate the database before we forget it. So now we have a new pending user emails table. Let's go back to the documentation. Where is it? Here, Firefox. So to use this package, we need to add a trait to the user model. So let's start with that. The trait is called must verify new email. Let's open the user model and add the trait right here. Must verify new email. Import the class. That's it. And then instead of updating the model itself, we need this new email method. So there are a bunch of methods that come with the package. And the first one is probably the most important one. That's the method that you call when you want to update an email address. So let's go back into our web routes file. Instead of updating the model directly, like this, we call the new email method, and we want to call it, of course, with the request input. So let's replace this with the request input email. Let's remove the update method. Yeah, so let's see what this does. I will clean up Mailhawk, so we have an empty, fresh mailbox. Let's refresh the settings page and say I want to replace this email address with info. So I hit update, and then it's not updated, which is a good thing. Let's open Mailhawk, and there is a new email to verify info. I will make this a bit bigger, like this. Verify new email. Let's open it. And there it is. Verification email. Let's verify it. Let's click this button, and we get a white screen, which I experienced before. I will get to that in a minute, but let's take a look at the database. What happened? No, let's refresh the settings page. I'm sorry. So previously my email was my name, and now I refresh the settings page, and now it is updated to info. So let's do that again. I'm gonna delete the message in Mailhawk. I will show you the database. Forgot to show you. So now it is info at. We've got a new pending user emails table, which is empty for now. Let's update my email address. Update. It's not updated yet. So it's still info, but then there's a new record in the pending user emails table, which has a reference to the user row, the user model, which is me, and to the new email address. And the package also has a method called getPendingEmail. So it's a bit weird that you update the email in the settings page. It doesn't update, it doesn't give you an error, there's no validation error. We want to give a bit of feedback to this user, and we can do that with that method. So let's go to the settings blade view. Let's add a if the user has a pending email, Let's give it a notification. We've sent a notification email to, and then to the pending email. Let's refresh the page. So here you have it. We've sent a notification email. So now it's obviously, so now it's clear to the user that it should do something to activate this email address. And I've discovered before there's a little bug going on. I don't know if it's a bug or a configuration error, but in the verify new email configuration file, you can specify the path to redirect the user to when it's verified its email address. So previously in older versions of Laravel, this path was called home, but with this new Laravel Breeze package, it's called dashboard. So I will update this to dashboard. And there's also a configuration setting to log in the user after it has verified its email address, but this user is already logged in. So let's change this to false for now. I think the problem is in here, not in here, but I will need to debug that a bit. So we've got our redirect to the dashboard. Let's go back to our settings page. We sent a notification email. I can prove you that we didn't update the email address yet. In the users table, we've got this pending user email row with the new email address for the first user model. And then in Mailhawk, right here, we have that new email verification link. Please click the button. So let's do that. And yeah, now we are at the dashboard page. If we go to the settings page, the email address is updated and the notification for the verification notification is gone. So yeah, this works fine. Now every user need to verify its updated email address as well. So verification for both new users and existing users to prevent type errors, wrong email addresses, you name it. It all saves us a bit of time. So let's do a quick recap. There is this new Laravel Breeze package, which was released last week. It is something different than Laravel Jetstream and Fortify because it doesn't use Livefire, it doesn't use Inertia. It's actually more like Laravel UI, like it was before. Except this has Tailwind styling, which I prefer. I'm much more fan of Tailwind than I am of Bootstrap. What I also like is the use of dedicated routes. So there is a dedicated auth routes file, which gets included in the web file right here, which is a really simple way to include more routes and don't make a mess of your web routes file. This is much better than the previous routes method on the service provider or on the auth facade. This is this is really better. I also like the use of blade components. So there are a bunch of components, maybe 10 or 12 or something like that. So there is an auth card component, there's a button component, an input component to clean up the blade files a bit. So yeah, this looks really clean to me. It also uses Laravel blade components for the layout instead of sections. I think this is really neat. Really clean this. So Laravel Breeze is kind of a successor to Laravel UI. Maybe you can still use Laravel UI in Laravel 8. I don't know. I didn't try it. I didn't try Laravel Jetstream either because I didn't start a new app with Laravel 8. So that's a thing I think a few people were confused about. This is a starter kit, so you don't want to move from Laravel UI to Laravel Breeze. It doesn't make sense. If you've used Laravel UI in the past and you've upgraded from like Laravel 6 or 7 to Laravel 8, you can still use Laravel UI. You don't have to upgrade to Breeze. You only use Breeze if you're starting a new Laravel project. And I think the same might be true for Jetstream. But Jetstream is much more, it has more features than Laravel Breeze because it also has that Teams feature with invites and codes and all that stuff. Maybe if you want to integrate that, maybe you can move from UI to Jetstream. I'm not sure. But if you are using UI, don't upgrade to Breeze. It doesn't make sense. But definitely use Breeze on new Laravel project because it's really great. It's clean. It's got tests, which I love. It's got tailwind, blade components. Yeah, I think that's it for today. So thanks for watching again. I'm sorry about the audio problems of the previous stream. I will post a comment below with the links to the repository, to the documentation, you name it. And hopefully I will see you another time. Maybe I will do a little Jetstream live session to discover Jetstream. I don't know. But stay safe and I will see you next time. Bye bye.